Welcome to our Women's World discussion. Today's topic, we ask, my body, my decision? Does the decisions that women make affect the men that are involved in their relationships? Let's welcome Keisha Marshall, Administrative Assistant, and Jody Ann Beckford, radio producer, presenter, and certified social media marketer, to discuss this topic that looks like it's going to definitely pack some power this morning. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
All right, nicely put. We're talking about her body, her decision. And to make it very clear, we're speaking of the topic of abortion, and one that, of course, we've been seeing a lot being discussed in our local sphere, and a lot of conversation has been happening. And so I just want to pretty much just throw it to rock, paper, scissors, Jody. So starting with you, you know, the whole concept of being pro-life, pro-choice. Should a woman have the right to make a decision and not have legal implications? In Jamaica, it is illegal for a woman to have an abortion unless there are issues with her, you know, term pregnancy or health. What is your thinking on that kind of law, as well as the choice of a woman, for a woman to do what she would like with her body?
I have mixed feelings about this issue because from what I have seen so far, I feel like all responsibility is always placed on the women. Grown to abortion, which is permitted so far, is, you know, to save the woman's life, to preserve her physical health or mental health. But if a woman is raped, she does not get this, she doesn't have the right to do this. If she's assaulted by her family member and some, you know, an incest act happens, she's not able to do that. And I believe that is unfair, because what you're doing is telling a woman that she must do trauma and then she must raise her trauma, and that is not fair. So I disagree totally. I believe a woman has the right to choose what she wants to do with her body. What we must do is inform our girls that we're raising properly, guide them so that they can make responsible decisions about their body.
Okay, all right. And what about you, Keisha?
Well, I'm on the same plane that Jody's on. You know, I mean, in today's society, you have a lot of things happening, right? And I think one might not go into that atmosphere of saying, let's abort a child. But in certain circumstances that it happens and the issues arise, she should have the choice, because as Jody said, it's health issues. You know, if I was raped by a father or brother, would I want mentally to be able to carry this child, knowing what might happen or what mental issues I might have? I don't think I would want to. I think we can make a decision together, but at the most point, this woman has to now carry this child for like 9 months, bear the pain for 9 months, and then have to look at this child wondering what could have. Maybe options could be, giving the child up for adoption or something, but I think it should definitely be her choice as to what should happen with this child.
So that is in that case, but I want to frame it a little differently. There is, and possibly that is bringing up another issue that we have, where incest and rape isn't reported and handled immediately. Because if a woman is raped and it is reported and there are no shame issues and she's given immediate health care, then the chances are she may not actually be in a position to carry a child, because then they would have handled immediately the blocking the possibility of a woman carrying a child. So normally it's when it's left and not dealt with that she would then eventually carry, because rape victims are given immediate health care to ensure that there are no possible issues outside of, whether there are diseases that could have been contracted or the possibility of pregnancy. So now that actually says then a female who actually stays and goes through that problem is because that was not handled as it should have been at that time.
And I mean, I agree with you, but then you have sometimes, in a person's mind, you might not think of like the fetus and the gestation ability that happens, right? So even that time might have been given. If we look, we know that within 5 to 6 weeks, there's a heartbeat. A mind might not be thinking that. So So it goes way past that. And for me, I probably would maybe be more okay with knowing that it's before then. Because then if I kind of know that there's a heartbeat, it might kind of draw me to a different thought process.
Right.
So so in regards to what you were just saying, if you leave it longer, then we're gonna end up in that kind of situation.
But this is the reality also, we talk about persons, if they come forward, we can deal with that and we won't have certain issues. But we have seen this played out in social media right now. We see how we treat persons who are victims.
Yes.
We blame our victims all the time. A woman get raped, I wish she did that. What she got it for? Why she did have on that?
She caused it on herself. Yeah.
A girl is being molested. It doesn't matter what age she is, or if you think that she consented. The man is older than the young lady, and we say a bad she bad, a man she want.
Correct.
And we put these things on victims, and there are other persons who have gone through rape, who are molested, and they say, I can't deal with that. I can't deal with the ridicule. I already feel embarrassed. I already feel disgusted. And then now, if I come forward, I am going to be treated as though I'm the one that did something wrong.
Right.
We can get rid of this. If we can stop doing this to our women and our young girls, I doubt we would be having this conversation, about situation and circumstances like this.
Right.
If our mothers who, when the young girl comes to you and say, Mommy, Daddy touched me, Mommy, Uncle touched me, Mommy, my brother touched me, if we could just stand behind our girls and believe them, and not shun them because the brother or the uncle or the father is the breadwinner,
yes.
we won't have these issues. And girls are afraid, women are afraid to speak up, so they're left in this predicament. And because it is not legal, they go somewhere and get, to get abortion, and it end up affecting them for the rest of their lives.
Yes.
When it has been done properly.
All right. And Keisha, on that point, you both mentioned the mixed feelings in the sense that if a woman goes through a traumatic experience, that the choice should be hers to deal with that situation. If it is that she needs to have an abortion or she thinks that she should, then she should have that choice. What about a female that really is not put in a certain position and just let's just call it careless for the program, in the sense that she has had sexual intercourse, did not use any form of protection, was not intending some way to not get pregnant, did not want to have a child, or neither did her partner, and she's now pregnant. And so it happens once, she wants to have an abortion, or she gets the abortion, it happens again. What are your thoughts on that? Do your feelings change based on the situation for a female, or are you just simply saying a woman needs to have full control over the choices for her body?
I think she still needs to have control over the choices of her body, but we still need to be educated, right? So we can't keep on just going like bam, bam, and and it keeps on happening. So as Jody mentioned before, educating our girls. We need to educate our girls on this atmosphere. I think it's a taboo if we want to talking about sex and stuff like that, but we need to educate them. We have guidance counselor, and if we can get to talk to them and enlighten them on what necessary stuff is going to happen and can happen. But I think in that, if it's a committed relationship and they're both committed, I mean, things can happen, but it can't be that it's like every so we're going to keep on doing, right? At some point in time, we have to stop. I still think it's her decision. And if it's a committed relationship, I think they should both have that conversation together. I mean, it might change depending on what the man wants and what she wants. But at the end of the day, I still think it's her decision and her choice to make.
And
go ahead.
I believe that we have to be responsible as women, and you're really hurting your body depending on how much time you have an abortion, if you research it, right? But we don't know just like the scenario you put there, probably she's just having sex, just like that, not being responsible, and that's why I brought up. I remember at 13 years old, because I'm from the ghetto, right? I remember at 13 years old, they had social interventions where they would talk about abstinence making sense. If you're going to have sex, to protect yourself, how to use a condom, get your birth control. I'm not seeing that played out as vigorously as it used to at my age.
Okay.
That's not being done. And I think while we're saying, parents have responsibility, we know that you have parents that are young people that are just not responsible. So we need to start putting those things back into play and advertising and making it known that it's okay to wait. One, it's fine to wait. You don't have to rush it. It's going to be there for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to protect yourself, we need to start having these conversations with our girls and our boys. But the reality is, everything will fall upon the woman. And that's just reality here. So we have to teach our girls to take care of themselves and be responsible for them not have to put themselves in a predicament.
Right. So we're talking about the choice for whether a woman should have a choice to have an abortion if she wants to, or should she not. And so I'm glad you both mentioned men in this regard. Do you think that it affects a man, or the man in question, the father to be, when a woman makes that decision to have an abortion? Let's just say he is not interested in doing that. He would like her to carry his child. Does he have equitable value in saying to this woman, I want this child, and she possibly just does not?
If they're married.
Only if they're married.
I believe if you're married, it will set,
So you don't.
All right.
So you don't think
I don't
someone
think the father should have something to say now, but as we said before, and we just have to keep it 100, we don't know, and those who are watching, men can say anything. Oh, I want the child. The child come, you want and the picnic are running. Him not there now. Him just wants to have it, because this is the reality also.
Have a youth.
Just want to say, oh, I have a youth.
Have a youth.
Having a youth is not enough. Are you supporting the youth? Are you providing for the youth? Because what you do is leave the responsibility on the mother to care for the youth, provide for the youth. But all you get to do is point and say, no, Sammy, you that.
Right.
So we really have to be honest with ourselves and look at it. You have good fathers out there, big up to you, bless up yourself. But the reality is you have some men just want you to have the child to say that they have a child. And then they disappear and they don't play their role. And this is the problem that we're having right now. This is what we're seeing playing out in our country right this minute. Because fathers are not playing their role, because fathers are not there supporting. So you can say you want the child, you can say you want her to carry the child, but are you going to be there throughout the 9 months, and are you going to be there throughout the rest of the child's life?
So I guess you never know, you can't look into the future to know, but if a gentleman says he is indeed willing and ready, what do we then do? How do you look at that differently, Keisha, in the sense that you are the choice? This is not the decision-making period where no one knows how it's going to play out. Let's say that the gentleman is obviously able to take care of the child, and based on the financial reality of that man, and he genuinely says this is what he wants. Still no luck for him, Keisha?
Man, it's just so hard. Like, I'm listening to Jody and I'm like, same sentiments. It's like it's playing out. It's actually playing out. I mean, you never know what the future holds, You can have a absentee father, or this man can decide to say right in front of me, yes, hon, I'm going to take care of the child. I'm going to be there for you. And something down the line changes. Right? Like Jody said, hats off to those fathers who are there helping. But for me, my thought process, any card can play. I'm going to want you did it. You're going to tell me, say, I'm going to take care of it and twos. You're gone. It's always left on the woman, no matter what you do. If you look at even growing up in Jamaica for myself, there's so many single mothers out there, and we have to bridge that gap. We have to stop it. We have to try to stop it. I mean, as I'm saying, not that we're going to keep on having children and just throwing them away.
Yeah.
Education, like Jody said, we have, when I was going to school, I didn't, guidance counselor, like where are those things? Having the conversations and just making sure that we're educating them on these things. I still think it's her decision to make, because him can go ahead. this young person, this female, she's going to sit with a child, and he's going to go and breed 10 more women.
Oh,
And
wow.
she sit down there and she might have 3 baby fathers already just because of different things. It's mentally. I mean, we're going through postpartum depression. It's
Yeah.
a lot a woman have to deal with, you know. And a man don't understand what it means for a woman to go through postpartum depression and be there with her.
Right.
Help that mental atmosphere that, look, she's now dealing with a change of body, something grown inside of her, which is abnormal. And
Yes.
she now has to prepare herself mentally to take care of it, and sometimes take care of the man too.
Yes, yes, and physically, because a lot of women also go through really, really difficult pregnancies, and then to top it off, a difficult delivery, and it is indeed life and death at that point of delivery. Most people don't remember or accept or recognize that literally the process of childbirth is always life and death
Yes.
for both mother and child. All right, so.
At the atmosphere, it is life, and not for me at that moment, because you don't know what is going to happen. You can go in, like you said, she goes in, and now he might have to think what we're going to do, you know, life and death. Do we take the mother or do we take the child?
Exactly.
So we've been seeing also in the news locally where the conversation of abortion has been coming up. So based on the conversation we've been having this morning, I hear an important point coming out from both of you. One, that yes, you believe that the choice is on the female to make a decision if she wants to carry her child full term or actually abort that child. But then a bigger part keeps coming out from both of you that you believe there is need for more education on just sexual reproductive health for both girls and boys, and where that responsibility is, whether parents and just general education in our country. So the importance, I'm seeing one pillar saying, listen, we need to talk about it, get it out there, do what we need to do, and so on. But then there is I think it was Argentina that recently passed their law. I think it's legal up to 14 months, I believe, and so that's the first country in the whole Latin American Caribbean region that has passed that kind of law. That I believe it's been a year or two that law has been passed and referenced by State Minister Juliette Cuthbert, who has been speaking to wanting, you know, that conversation started back in Parliament after she did that in 2018 and raised that. What are your thoughts about Jamaica actually making abortion legal, whether for a period, by way of, if you know, I think for Argentina, to be clear, it is up to any reason can be given. So you don't have to, it doesn't have to be health related, just as long as it's within the first 14 weeks, I believe, of the pregnancy. It is legal for a woman to make that decision up to 14 weeks. What are your thoughts as to how we as a country start to create this space for women to have this decision?
I think we could 14 weeks. So I would go with making it legal with different ramifications that we need to follow. So it shouldn't be like what Jody and I was saying, like it's going to be like this month and then next month and then next month. And next month.
Right.
So I think we should set a perimeter to say up to how, like the duration probably, and to how many times this can be done, because then we're going to have the same problem if we just say it's okay, yes, we are going to legalize it, and then everybody just jumps on the bandwagon and figure, well, you know, since they legalize it, then we can continue to do it, you know, every other month, then we're going to abort the baby. No.
And it's a dangerous procedure. It is a dangerous procedure for either, you know, for the woman in question, that can also, you know, create a serious problem, death even. And so indeed, we're talking here about serious ramifications as it relates to just you as the female. You never know what can happen post that situation. So indeed, not to be taken simply. So you're saying ramifications. Any of the law then giving the males the right to have a decision up to a period, nothing at all, and then holding them to it, nothing at all for the men still?
It does take two. I remember having a conversation with my sister in the Christmas, and I said, you know, we are putting laws in place for women, you know, and we're advocating for women, but what are we asking the men to do? What kind of responsibility are men taking for having several children, you know, just all willy-nilly? I agree with Keisha when she said that when you put a law in place like that about abortion, there should be some regulations, some rules put in place as to how you should go about, because we're not trying to encourage carelessness. You know, when persons here talk about abortion, they will look at it that way. But you have some women and men that are careless with their sexual lives, right? And they need to take responsibility, and that's just that. How men come in play with my body, me just not seeing it any at all. I apologize if anybody's watching on here upset with me. I just don't see, unless marriage to me is very important. I want to get married to become one. You can't just up and willingly make decision by yourself. Unless this man is abusive, you need to get rid of him and move out and move on. But if you're married, I believe the man should have a say in it, because we're married together, right? If you're not with the person, if you're not married, as I said before, this is just my opinion.
And you're speaking of a natural act of marriage, or what about some, you know, in Jamaica, many relationships are common law. Yes. Years of living together. But if you're living with someone for 15 years, common law, isn't that, I mean, so you just want to ensure that the paperwork is done for the marriage, and then that is how you view.
You have talk when you're married. You have talk when you're married. Okay. That's my opinion, honestly.
Okay.
You don't, common law no work for me. Sorry.
Or, I mean, if we're going to place some responsibility on the men, which I think some responsibility need to be placed on them, because like Jody said, they need to understand as well, it's not just you just pick and just, you know, you just fall anywhere the chips may fall, and you keep on having children as well. So they need to take some kind of responsibility. So maybe in the laws that we're doing, if this man, if it's marriage, I think it's a different situation, that you still definitely, me and my husband, we're going to talk about it and we're going to make that decision together. Right, come on law, him can still walk away after 15 years, him can still walk away. And just a girlfriend.
But they can walk away in the marriage.
Can walk away as well. But I would say that then, if we discuss and I genuinely see that he, you know, in actions, they're showing me that, well, you know, him can with him, we might go sign a paper too. So then him have to sign a paper
like that.
Want to be me holding and accountability on his.
I like that.
If you tell me that you want it, and I'm saying, boy, I don't know how to manage on my body, and you're there saying, you know what, Keisha, let's work together at it. Okay, then you know what? The paper, I was saying, the tool we need for Whitney, they sign this thing, and both of us is going to say yes to doing it. So now when time it happened and I decide to carry this child, anything happens around it, you are being held accountability for it too. Because you yes.
Right, right. Well, this conversation looks like we need a couple more layers and levels, because a lot of things we would want to discuss, especially. I'm sure some of our men are wondering, like, nobody at all, you know, I'm not sure, we're not thinking. But truth is, and as we wrap, it is so important for our women, though, to make that decision for themselves. If it is that we're saying that women have the right to do what they want, then they should have the right to be careful in their sexual activities and protect themselves, since only a woman can have a child, in the sense of carrying the responsibility physically and bringing that child into the world. Well, thank you, Keisha Marshall, Administrative Assistant, and Jody Ann Beckford, Radio Producer, Presenter, and Certified Social Media Marketer, for joining us this morning. We were asking, it's, you know, for a woman, is it her decision? It's her body, her decision, that whether it's for an abortion or so. That's it for our Women's World discussion. Thank you, ladies. It was really great having you this morning.
COVID-19 is still here. Always wear your mask correctly while in public places, covering your nose and mouth at all times. Masks should never be worn over the head, under your chin, below your nose, or hanging from your ears. Recovery from COVID-19 can take up to 60 days or more. The mask or the ventilator? You choose. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
I got this Samsung tablet for only $3,999. And you can too. Just add your Flow Mobile to your Flow Home Internet and get one today.
Love. Family.
I know I have your blessings.